In this video, we're going to go through the differences between hitting a chip shot and a pitch shot, what makes up each of those two shots and when you should use them. Okay, so let's start off with the chip shot here. Okay, what I'm looking at is I'm shot very close to the green here. I'm just a few paces off the edge, and then my ball needs to land and release towards that target. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to depower my setup. So if I was in a full swing, whether it was a 7-iron or out to a driver, I'd be nice and wide, I'd be flex forwards, I'm trying to rotate, create power. What I need to do is I need to take away all of that power in my setup. So there's some key points that we need to run through. First of all, we have to come in narrower, and I suggest somewhere around one club head like this. That brings my knees together and it just puts the center of my body much closer to where the golf ball is going to be. Do you see that? If I was to get out wide, my center is now behind the golf ball, which is going to be a real danger position for a chip. We don't want to be there. So I'm going to get nice and close. I'm going to walk in on the golf ball, get nice and tall. And now you can see my sternum, this bone right down the middle here, or my buttons of my shirt, left of the golf ball as I look at it. Okay, that's going to enable me to hit the golf ball and then the ground afterwards. That's what we call low point. We want our low point after the ball always on these chip shots. What I like about chipping is there's a lot of variations here. So I'm going to play this one with my 58, but I could go down to 54, 50, pitching wedge, 9-iron, depending on where the flag is. And the technique really doesn't have to change that much, okay? By changing the loft of your club, you're going to get the golf ball do something completely different. Those lower lofted clubs, the ball speed's going to be quicker, the spin rate's going to be lower. So that means that ball's going to travel through the air. When it hits the ground, it's going to react very differently to this 58 that I'm about to use here, okay? So we're going to go basic chip here. Nice and narrow, nice and tall. The motion itself from here, as I go back, I'm trying to keep my arms relatively close to my ribs as I move. This is connected. There'll be a small swing of the club head relative to the wrist. It's not rigid in my wrist. If I get like too rigid, you're going to see a lot of kind of rocking backwards and forwards with the sternum in an effort to create motion. So it's okay to have some play in the wrist. You do not want to lock those wrists. So as I go back here, you'll see there's a small swing here of the wrists and finish slightly broken down on the way through. One of the things I see a lot of people doing on these shots, and this is where amateurs will get into trouble with the ball flight, not being able to stop it, and their contact issues. I see a lot of people play that ball a long way back. They get really open and then they get way out in front of it. This creates a lot of shaft lean and a lot of digging here. That on itself is not a big problem unless you tie that in with tight wrists and holding onto it like this. Now you've just created a ball that's going to come out super hard, super low. That would look like this. That ball's just gone sailing across the green, no spin. You can see it buried the club in the ground. Contact was clean, but I de-lofted it so much that the speed in the ball went really high, okay? So once again, let's take that good setup. Ball in the middle, sternum over here. Nice, smooth rhythm, staying connected. Okay, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Put some comments down below. I'd love to hear how you're getting on. Let's take a look at this from some different angles. So now we're looking at the chipping from down the line. So as we've already discussed, we've made our stance narrow. I mentioned earlier, I'd like my upper body to be slightly open because that moves my sternum left of the golf ball, okay? For me here, my club face is pretty much at my target. And then from here, you'll see as I stand taller, I come up here, that actually moves my arms closer. If I was to be far away, really bent forward, you see how there's a big gap here. This bringing me in allows my arms to get really close, and I've got really good control of my club when my arms are close here. So club face to the target, feet somewhat square, but upper body feels a little bit more open. Head is left of the golf ball. Heel of the club may be slightly off the ground because I'm up taller. And there's my basic chip. The chip should always release a little bit when it hits the ground, right? We're not looking for it to stop where it hits because it's too slow of a swing. I can't create that much spin that I would get a ball to stop that quick. And I'm definitely not using the landing angle like I would on a lob shot. So the lob shot's coming in really steep descending, it stops that way, okay? So this is definitely not that. I can't land it by the flag, it'll be gone. So I want to land it before the flag, let it release, okay? So let's take a look how things will differ in the pitch shot from this chip shot that we just talked about. One thing you may have noticed is I don't chip with my glove on, and here's why. I don't putt with a glove. I like the feel of no glove. I feel like I better touch that way. And I don't need extra grip for that shot, okay? But as soon as I come back here, and the same with bunker shots, as soon as I feel like I've got a more swinging club, I'm gonna go ahead and put my glove on. So let's get that done first. This is personal preference, you know, I just, the glove is for added grip, and for me here, it's a lot more appropriate to do that. So to accommodate our swinging club that we're gonna use in a pitch, we're gonna go out from our chipping stance. Instead of being one club head, I'm going to get out to about 2, maybe 2.5 club heads. We got about a 30-yard shot here, so it's just a short pitch. I like the ball to be just around the middle, just maybe slightly back, just enough to allow my sternum to be on the left side of the golf ball. The main difference between our chip and our pitch is what's going to happen in a chip, the club staying low, and then as I go back for a pitch, I've got more swing, more pivot, because I'm trying to produce a ball flight that flies in the air for longer, hits the green, and then stops, okay? When we're chipping, we're much closer, therefore, I guess our ratio of fairway to green is much higher here. We've got much higher percentage of green. When you see this from down the line, you'll see that it's about 50-50. I'd say I've got 50% fairway before I get to the green. I have a false front, and then the flat spot where I'm hitting it. So I've probably got to carry this 75% of the total distance for it to be an effective pitch shot, okay? And we'll look at that when we're down the line here in a minute. So first of all, let's hit a couple here, turn the chest, finish there. There's my nice pitch. That landed pretty good on my flat spot just before the flag there. So that was very good. So let's just repeat that. A little bit wider than the chip, sternum still left. Pretty much the same as the previous one. And then we're in good shape. All right, guys, make sure you put some likes and some comments down below. Let me know how your pitching is. And I'll get back to them as soon as I see those comments coming in. So here we are looking at this pitch shot, and as I was explaining just now, I've got about 50% fairway, then I've got a bit of a force front, and then the green flattens off up towards where the flag is. So I've got to make sure that I obviously carry it above that ridge to be effective here. If I hit one too soft, it's going to hit that false front, it's probably going to stop, roll back off the green. So how do we evolve our chipping to pitching? So this would be my chipping stance, very tall, very close. I'm going to back myself up as I get a little wider with those feet. There we go. And as I make the swing back, you'll see there's a little bit more hinge, a bit more swing to the club. And then from there, the pivot drives the arms through to a finish. What we're not trying to do is to hang back in any way and lift the ball. I'm going to just let this 58 do its job. We're going to get that ball in the air. That was a little bit long, that one. Felt like I got a bit too much hands in that impact, so the club sped up. It was pulled it about 3 feet, but it was just a bit long. Let's try and calm the hands down, better body motion. There we go, that's a better one. So that one, I was a bit calmer in my hands. Ball came out a little lower because I didn't add loft. Landed exactly where I wanted it, okay? So there you have it. There's the difference between chipping and pitching. The chipping, we're just getting a lot closer. We're taking all the power away, much more driven by the body. The arms are more connected. Need a little bit more freedom in the pitching, so we're going to back ourselves up, gives ourselves a bit more room, let the pivot and the arms work in harmony. There's definitely more swing to that golf club there. So please make sure you subscribe, comment down below. Love to get in touch with you guys and check in on your short games.